Hello everybody and welcome to Wise Exotics. I'm your host Trevor, and today we'll be doing the start of 2025 June for the video log series. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please post them below. If you need any help or questions outside of YouTube, feel free to hit me up on my Instagram. It's Wise Exotic, one word, same little green owl. I kind of do these video logs as a ongoing good, bad, how things are doing, what's going on, kind of keep track of the things both from my own recollection and yours, of those who enjoy watching this. At this time, I have repot a couple of the plants. Pudica was seeming to get a little pissy. I'm not sure if it was too much water or too much fertilizer or a combo of the both, so I just repot it, cleaned it up, moved it from the section over here all the way to the section over there. So it's in a larger black pot now. Sadly, I can't look into the roots anymore. I couldn't find any sort of easy to use translucent pot. I found some orchid ones, but they had holes in it, which would have been great if I was using moss. Since I'm using rocky media, it just kind of kept pouring out. So the black pot it was. Now, as things are going, I was trying to root some basils. The one for K3, the female, did not take, sadly. It withered. The other one still looks like it's might go, and that's when I'm going to trade to Mike Fallen for a pot more basil that he's rooting for me, hopefully. So there's hopefully a trade there in the future. My collection is Nepenthes, which are carnivorous plants. Most of the plants in this collection that are all over the place are Veitchii, but there's several hybrids and species within this collection: Edwardsiana macro, Hamada, Paloenensis, Leonardoi, Pudica, Macrophylla, Velosa, Rajas, and the like. So let's go over to the main tray, shall we? If you're wondering what these are a pet safe netting. They're mainly there because the birds were flying around and crashing into things, and that was the easiest way to stop it. They also help, prevent it from being too bright and shiny there, so there's that. So it acts as pet safe and as a sunshade. Now, the plants are doing fine. I got a little bit of a cold, so if I have the sniffles or coughs, apologies. Here's Pudica, nice new happy leaf after I repotted and moved it. So I think it was getting too much water. It is a lowland species, so I thought high humidity was fine for them. Excuse me, I need this. The only one of the Veitchii that was out here having a bit of a tiff was this one, and this one. I'm not too sure why, but they had a bit of a issue with their news leaf. I checked, it doesn't look like there's any sort of insects or parasites on them. It might just be because my weather's been changing like crazy. We're going from really hot to really cold, really hot, cold, cold, hot, rainy, not rainy, dry. So I'm not sure if that's kind of shocking them or freaking them out. My two Akazuki Expario, one is here, looking really good. That one's producing at least two different traps. This one, the Seagrow one, I got from Untamed Skies, not Skies, is very peculiar. It tends to skip a few traps, and it was falling over the side, so I had to repot it, so I don't know if it'll make a trap for a while. But its last trap was really squat. This one is really pretty. This is 5 by the Wave, I believe. No, that's Big Mama X the Wave. I had to find the tag is right here. Car 0168. This little thing is, that is one of my sensors that are in here. Now the thing behind it is a new from the tank. That is my Seagrown Raja Tempe Yukon from Nepenthes God, aka Jeff Schaefer. That one's doing quite well. As you can see, it's already got jumps and it looks quite happy in the open air. So it might just keep getting bigger. That is hard to believe that that one's roughly 2 years old. No idea what I'm doing right. I do have the Kinabalu Seagrown now, and the two other 3152s, I believe, which are both female regardless of which clone they are, if they're the same clone. Excuse me. These plants are doing pretty well. This plant is actually going to be going out Monday. I had somebody who was interested in this Veitchii, which was a Barrio from Red Leaf. I believe it's a topping. It's similar to a K, but it doesn't have stripes, and somebody had asked for it and inquired, so that will be going out Monday. So this one will be gone next time. This one has a beautiful trap right here. Beautiful flower. That's my yellow A. It was just a little trap like 2 leaves ago. It's hard to believe how much it's grown. This one's doing really nice. That is a 5 by the wave. It's making a new trap there. The variegated, as you can see that, it looks like a shadow down the center of the leaf here. That is not a shadow. See, you can see my finger going, the shadow doesn't change there. When I start affecting the light source, that's actually a dark streak. So it actually, so far to this video, that is the JBX cover that I got from auction. It gets those kind of reddish, dark red traps with stripes that are kind of faded and then not. I don't know how else to say it. There's another trap hiding right there. It gets almost purplish. It's very pretty. But at this time, the leaves get at least 2 to 3 different variegations. So it'll get a dark streak, which is a darker colored pigmentation streak down the middle. And it can be in different forms and lengths. There is this kind of light green splashes that then grows into a white patches in there. So it actually gets tri to even quad coloration, which is like, wow, that's a lot. So quite amazing there. Taffy's making a trap there. This other trap is ridiculous. Now, I had somebody I remember was telling me about some interesting traits of Veitchii. So I know people think that all the Veitchii start out red like that and stay that way. That is not actually true. They will start red to pink and then age really quickly to either green or yellow. That's just part of their natural habitat. Like this one's kind of still pinkish. This one's still reddish, but it depends on the individual. It doesn't always happen. So between taffy and pink candy actually, as you can see, keeps a lot of that pink coloration even months after that trap has aged. The only other one that I know that does that is Jeff Wong, which was collected from the wild by the late Jeff Wong. It also goes by the name GW. That one's doing quite well for the people who have it. The seedlings of GW X Candy Dreams are doing fine. I think I lost some seeds. I'm not too sure because I'm pretty good at counting and checking them routinely. You know, I've actually pulled them out of the humidity dome. They're still in the tank, so they get high humidity and whatnot, but I was thinking they needed more airflow. I didn't want to get rot or anything, but I'll go over there and we do that. But it kept, it was like 2 of them in one pot were gone and 1 in the other pot. I think because when I counted them originally, I counted the stems that were pushing out of the seeds. Some of these stems might not have been able to successfully grow or push out, so they might have just died off. I know someone was asking about taffy. Taffy does have a branch point at one of those spikes, so it might possibly start to basil soon. That's a hope. Crimson Candy, as you can see here, has this gorgeous trap. If I can get in here without hurting anything, that would be good. Beautiful striping, coloration, crazy amount of spots. But it's hiding under leaf, so it might not be as red as it usually does because it was under Taffy's leaf, so I had to kind of shift that around and get in there, get it a little more light. So it might color up more. Pink Candy's right next to it, Taffy's right over here. These 3 love to put their traps, as you can see, almost always near each other. It's quite odd. K3 had a beautiful trap, and then she cracked it against her old trap, which it looks like I have to get rid of that old trap. Beautiful coloration on her. And my Berbigia, I was waiting so long for this. So this is a 3873. You can see the tag right there. This was a large plant that I got last year from Bergen Waters Gardens. It was so pissy. It has taken 8+ months because I got it, I believe, around this time last year. So it's almost been 12 full months before it finally produced another trap. But man, it's a big trap. It's almost the same length as the leaf and width. It's pretty impressive. The Edwardsian, I know people are asking about it. Eddie, it was getting a little scorchy, but the new leaf looks fine since I moved it under the shade cloth area and more toward the back. Hamada here is doing fine. I moved the Luma into the back because it was going in phases of pissed and not pissed. So I was thinking maybe it needed more stabilization time in the back. Raja Paltata, new leaves, no new traps yet. I think it's trying to establish its equilibrium after I did the repot, but that's fine. This is one of the Veitchii with the basil. As you can see here, this is this trap, not this one. This is 207 right there. The other 207's right there. That one looks almost like Cobra Mini. It has flare spikes off to the edge, and it's only like traps are like a third of the size of this. So I'm really hopeful that keeps the flare from its dad. Now, interesting enough, I know some of you know I'm working on Carnival with with Nepenthes Odyssey and some others now. I'm mainly doing the VGI section and establishing all those things. I'll probably be adding to that on Sunday. At least on the individuals at the bottom, I'm going to sort them out and put the cultivator picks and whatnot on those pages. For what we can discern on Cobra, I thought Cobra was a Barrio form, but actually researching it with some of the nurseries and Asian growers, the best we can establish is it's some form of Batalai. Maybe Batalai is a subgroup, but it's either the subgroup or the main group, because most of those actually get the flare that go forward, which is interesting. And that was the original location that it was noted to have come from, supposedly. So that is an interesting aspect, which probably makes sense. As some of you know, I do have one that's seed grown that's over here. It's a pain in my neck. That one is the same age as Taffy. Now, Taffy's a freak on many aspects for its growth rate, but still, of my other ones that I've had about the same time, which is like this 4021, my Clippiatas here, even my Raja Expeltana, that is one of my older Veitchii, and it's super slow to grow. Very, very picky. It does get wavy leaves, but it's just very slow. Next to its appendiculata, as you can see, there's another Clippiata there. There's this cute little Veitchii here. Just a lot of little Veitchii hiding up here. They're doing fine, but I'm not sure what I did to piss this one off. This one has a huge trap ratio, and the humidifier is blasting me in the face. As per last time, these are doing okay. The only one that might have an issue is this 4033. The basil died off. The growth tip didn't look like it continued, so I'm not sure if that one from the trade is going to make it. This little trap here might seem unimpressive, but that's actually a year plus in the making. That is Nepenthes Samudera. Now, that is a male that is used by Borneo Exotics. That's currently the only one in cultivation that I'm aware of. I know Rob was trying to find more, but it's basically kind of like the Truncata from its area. Same place as Singulana, Bongso, and the like. They're all from that area. I can't remember offhand. It starts with an S. I'll remember it eventually. Not Singapore. I'll remember it when we get there. Anyway, where Samudera is located, it is the largest of its species, and they call it kind of the truncata of that area. So that one has finally made a trap. That was actually a gift from my friend Black Thumbs. He sent it my way because he was trying to keep one for himself, and he had an extra, so he sent it to me when we were, I think, doing a trade. Clupiata. Newest trap on this one is doing phenomenal. They really like Cross Exotics fertilizer. I am not joking. Look at the jump since I've started giving this thing. Now, of the species that I gave Cross Exotics fertilizer to, the Veitchii seem to have responded a little later, as you can see, with the leaves getting a little bit of a jump. But the Clips were the first to show any sort of reaction in a good way. They immediately went from this coloration to this, which was a brighter green, a little bit of a green edge, but then their newest leaves are these fantastic type form. They're beautifully green. They're rubbery on the top. They have this like velvet fuzz on the bottom. Love it. One of the species I really enjoy growing. But if you're going to get one, highly recommend only get one because they do get big, wide leaves. So if you don't have space for them, you'll have to keep kind of chopping them back and hoping for a basil, or you just get one and put it in a hanging pot, which might be the eventuality of these someday. So let's go over to the tank. So we're over at the tank now. There's the one basil. That is the Raja Kinabalu, already pushed a new leaf. I was actually very happy to see that because the Rajas can be very sensitive, as highlands typically are, and I was worried that one would have stress from the shipping import. Like some of these, they were aborting their pictures from the import. These are two siblings from the same import. Already pushing healthy leaves and growth. This one's already got a trap. This is M1XM3. At this time, I think I have 6 VGI M types. So I at least have 2 MXM from my friend Mike's. That's a European M. So those are right here. They're already getting pink tone. I have, let's see, 2 M's that are homemade. And then I have the M1XM3 here, and then I have Mike's actual M. So at least 5 seed-grown MXM and 1 M from Exotica plant that's a basil developing. Over here we did have our first germination right on this corner. This is VCI Candy Red X Candy Red, not to be confused with the Candy Red of Almost You. Almost You one is a different style and form, so one of the things that's driving me nuts on the whole VCI legacy hunting for named specimens and pictures is there's like a dozen plus Candy Reds. Like, nobody could think of anything unique to name them, so they all went Candy Red, Candy Red, Candy Red. And I don't know if that was kind of the same deal with people trying to name their plant Candy Dreams that weren't Candy Dreams, or that they were in different continents or different whatever countries, and nobody could figure out that, you know, maybe check before you start naming your plant something. Anyway, so the 2 parents of these are squat red with stripes, and they're fairly pink because they're grown in a warm environment, which is Thailand or Singapore, I believe. But yeah, so hopefully they'll get redder. This is one of my newest VGI. Yes, that is intensely red. I'm hoping it keeps that. I'm not sure if it's that red from the lights it was grown under or something else, but that's Mike Fallen's M1X Cobra, which is a rare Grex here in the US. He's only made that cross a few times, and there's always been kind of like a handful, and he keeps a few for himself. The 3 he's shown of it are just ridiculously red with stripes that are pretty intense. They almost look like just red M's, nice and squat, so I'm very hopeful for that. I haven't seen any of the Cobra kids keep the forward flare, which is a trait I really am trying to find and keep. So I would love to combine a kid with Cobra that has that's a red female with Candy Dreams, just to see if we could kind of get a forward flare red that stays. But that's my own personal hope. This is a more mature specimen of these sets. So this is Candy Red X Candy Red from the same grower, breeder, whatever you want to call it. This was from import last year. It was nearly dead for me. But nice healthy leaf. It's producing this. We might actually have a trap. Now this one actually was red with stripes, so that's why I was so intent on keeping it alive, because I'm just that way. Some of my seedlings, these are about the size of the ones I'm even offering. If you ever need a little VGI seed, they're $30 of the JF001. I think I only have like 5 or 6 in the dome left of the Ritz Expario too, but I was kind of keeping those just to see how they all turn out. Eventually they'll all go out, and I'll keep my favorites, but that is the plan. Nice little note here on the Big Mom XLA, that was the tiny one. It pushed a small little growth spurt out the sides at the top, so I'm hopeful that it's gonna continue to grow. The Car 735 did in fact actually make its first trap. It was striped. It's very squat. I was comparing to my friend Jinkies, his also just made a trap, which was more stout. It looked more kind of like this shaping, tubular, little stripes on it. Not like this one. This one reminded me more of my Barrio and TX Cobra, which that one's a sleeper, but it's pure pink with stripes. Can't complain. On the seeds right here, these are the VGI Striped X Candy Dreams. This is the Asian cross. So many have germinated. I am not kidding. That is a lot of germination. I am currently the only one in the US with this batch. I have these imported through a friend and he was doing his import from China. So it was an Asian crossbreed. It is very difficult to find pictures of Asian crosses. There's another one that's there that's the female Candy Red from Almost You, bred with Candy Dreams. They called that the Asian Fire Cross. That one I haven't seen in the US yet, other than like 2 people. But some people have gotten them in. But finding the pictures of crosses like Orange X Candy Dreams, let's see, I have three right there. That's actually pretty orange, as they call it in Asia, X Candy Dreams, but it's just simpler because there's no orange here, I guess, in the USA, to just call it orange. It's a large, tubby female that kind of gets a little pinkish, a little orangish, with stripes. She's very pretty, but she fades almost immediately to pale yellow-white, kind of like that female M. Barrio that Carnivoro sells. But there's that. Next to it is the GF Wong X Candy Dreams. As you can see, so these pots are co-potted. So this one is my set. This one is my friend Tater's. I've been growing both of these for us because he wanted some to grow. So I'm going to grow those out and probably sell them for him as at his request as they get larger. I know some people have been asking me when these would be available. Probably next year, because if you look at it, these are the ones from last year to give you an idea of size, and these are the slower to grow ones. So the faster grow ones, one of them I know my friend has is about that size, making a trap that size from the Red Six Barrio with stripes. That's the one Travis got. He was the first one to buy for me. It was a pre-order. I was like, I'm selling the largest to one set, and the largest of each set usually, from what I've heard of nurseries, tends to get good quick. So those ones there, but I don't know. That's his pot. That's my pot. I only really plan to keep 3, maybe 5 for myself. The rest are gonna go out. So I've seen these sell for like 250 to 300 each. Trying to get a guesstimate how much these will be. That seems to be the ballpark price range. So selling anything for over 100 hurts my soul. But it's like, okay, if I bought it for 100 and it was this big and now it's that big, I'm gonna charge a little more for it. I'm not gonna try to rip you off. I mean, it's valued at its size and the traits. That's if it's seed grown, usually there's a little more value, especially if it has some unique traits. So just keep that in mind when you're running around and buying things. Let's see. These other ones are doing pretty well. Try to get the picture. Those are the MXM, and these are the MXM. These are the Candy X Candy. Those are already showing kind of pink in the trap. So except for that, Argente is there. The basil for the Argente is hopefully rooting. Ova, Clipiata, Singulana, Diabolica. She really just produced a new growth point out of the middle, and it doesn't look like she's freaking out anymore, but I think she's just still trying to figure out what she's doing. The AW1 Diabolica doesn't seem to care. Now, the Mollis is getting big. He's just doing his own thing. Now, there's a bit of a debate on the genders of the Mollis from AW. There are 2 Mollis, AW1, AW2, which are both clones. Originally, the first clone was sent out as clone 2, but that one went and later earlier was a different thing. It was just called AW Mollis. That one eventually became this one, which is clone 2 to my understanding, which is a male. Clone 1 is a female. Now, there were issues, and I know quite a few people have brought this up a few times, where people were getting the wrong plant. They would get a tag for clone 1, but it was actually clone 2, but then they'd flower and go, it's a male, so obviously this is a lie, and that's part of the reason Wistuba does not offer genders anymore of the plant. So if you pull these out, see NA not available. He does not offer that function anymore to anyone. He doesn't tell, he doesn't say. So collecting from sources, now I can't even put this back in the pot. Okay, there we go. But for the Mollis, there are 2 very distinct ones that are clones. Clone 1 typically is green and black, and she's got a little bit of reddening as she ages. Clone 2 here actually is reddish yellow almost always. This is his coloring, and he looks like that as he gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's pretty easy to spot the difference when someone goes, this is my male Mollis that was labeled as clone 1. That doesn't look like clone 1. And unlike Veitchii, Mollis aren't very polymorphic. So there's a BCP tricolor. She is beautiful. She's green and black, but she gets neon pink streaks. So she actually gets 3 colors in her peristome, which is very pretty. I would love to have that one. But anywho, that one is a female, and she keeps that coloration in every collection I've ever seen her. Same thing with this male. Same thing with the clone 1. Now, that is just what they're stated. Veitchii and even various other Nepenthes have been known to change genders in different colors, and it's not always 100%. Typically, if it's going to be whatever it flowered as originally, it's just going to keep doing that. If you got a basil off of that, that's how it works. But stress conditions can flip them. That's been noted, like in cold snaps, it would turn into a female. Under extreme heat stress, like heat waves, there's been males or ones that get a partial flowering. It doesn't usually happen. It's a odd occurrence. I don't think it's something that you can guarantee or um, put your faith in, but typically if they say it's that gender, it'll be that gender to my understanding. Unless like with Stuba, there has been mix-ups where like, okay, one person got the wrong plant or a different species was sent by accident. Like Flori collab with BCP, I had supposedly a Northiana. It actually turned out to be a Sumatrana. So you take it as you will. Attenborough is getting some nice size. That's the BE clone. One of the clones. Apparently, that is a bunch of randomly selected clones. I do have a whole Google sheet now. Nothing but the Borneo exotics codes and small descriptors. The macrophylos are actually starting to get some good leaf jumps. I'm really excited for, especially this one. Finally getting a nice jump. These started occurring when I gave them a little bit of foliar spray of Cross Exotics fertilizer. So it looks like the macros and the clips are quite happy with that fertilizer type. Mollis, as well as you can see the leaf jumps. I may also, kind of denoting, and people are asking how that works. So this is the old, how it looked. It's just some blue little beads in there, but you take it, I take a little teaspoon, I put it into some water, and I stir it up per the ratio it says. I just do a little teaspoon into my big spray bottle, and I wasn't trying to get it too hot. Some people have said they're doing like 700 to 800, but I was like, that seems a little too hot. Some of the highlands can handle very intense fertilizer, which kind of makes sense. They're very slow growing. They live like Rajas do live in rocky soil, and they do like a wider pot. But Rajas tend to do it pretty well. The only oddity I've seen on Raja as a weird thing is the leaves will sometimes get this bluish spots on this one. None of them, these two are showing it, and these are all supposedly Kinabalos. These are the two 3152s. That's the seed grown. Don't know how that works out. But yeah, collections are doing fine. We got no issues. If you need some assistance, help, or are interested in buying a plant, hit me up on Instagram. Happy to answer questions here on YouTube. Do my best. So try to be as transparent as possible. I mean, they're plants. They're right there. This is where I get them, where I grow them. Loei also seems to look like it got a nice jump. Epiphytiata, same. So that's it, everyone. Drought. Best luck. Hope to see some of you maybe at BACPS.